General, is there anything specific that you want to comment on or highlight in any of these measures and recommendations which appear from 65.1 to 65.5?
Yeah, well, I think everything is there as it stands, but will maybe as an addition, although not written here. I hope that the ad hoc committee, through the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence, tasked the state security of this country to conduct a thorough counterintelligence investigation on the role of the media in this country, and specifically specific journalists that are working. Most of them, I've seen they're publishing, as I said, it's not a media house, but journalists. Some of them, they write for, I think, Sunday Times or City Press, one of those newspapers. But I know some of them write for News 24. Not long ago, most recently, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, the Inspector General of Intelligence was requested to conduct an investigation on the purchase of properties within crime intelligence, and that is within the domain of the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. It is my understanding, from what I gather, that the report that will have been produced supposed to be within the Inspector General of Intelligence. It's supposed to be confined to the Minister of the Environment responsible, and it's supposed to be confined to the committee, the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. But in this few days back, that report was published by News 24 journalist. It's a classified document, and that talks about properties within the secret service account. So the question is, how does a journalist get hold of such? Who then gave the journalist that? I'm using this as an example. It's not the only one. There's a number of them. When the member of the Portfolio Committee on Police says openly in public that while he's sitting in his office, whatever, there's a magic paper that appears underneath his door. Classified document. And that leads him into go and open a case. It needs to be investigated, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, because the records, the control register, the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence will prove that the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence has been an operational center that has been used to counter this criminal investigation happening in Gauteng. The control register in that office for people to come in and out will give evidence of people that have been visiting that office, including the Honorable Member, Mr. Adams, who traveled there. The member in the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence, Advocate Governor, should be invited, Honorable Chair, to come before this ad hoc committee, if I were to recommend, where she's going to come and tell you about the experience and the horrible things happening in that office. That the member, Mr. Adams, is the one who came with a classified document and presented it before the Inspector General of Intelligence to request Inspector General of Intelligence to conduct investigations on things. The members of IDEC have been frequenting the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence, where things were plotted against these members of crime intelligence. So it's an experience we had with the late former Advocate Hadebe, who was an Inspector General of Intelligence 2011-2012, of how that office has been manipulated. These which are referenced to on the 5th of March during my appearance. The similar things are happening today. Crime intelligence has been doing a lot of bad things. And the bad things are brought to the attention of the Inspector General of Intelligence and supposed to end up with the Joint Standing Committee, so the people are held accountable for the wrong. Honorable Chair, honorable members, people will say MKHWANAZI is very insensitive, but when we talk the honest truth, we must tell the truth. The country was in pain to listen to how much of money was spent at the former president's house, homestead, at Ingatla, because there was an accountability that was happening at the time. But this government has never paid attention on the amount of expenditure that was incurred by crime intelligence over years. Interrogate that within the Secret Service account. The misuse of the Secret Service account. Obviously, the Joint Standing Committee is supposed to do that. It's disturbing when reports supposed to be presented to such structures to hold people accountable. Nothing happens to it. We are sitting today, the country is in mourning because we lost one of our ambassadors in France. But that ambassador was a minister of police. As you switch on the television and you watch the homestead of the former minister of police, you're going to see a very big wall. Perimeter wall. It was built by the money from crime intelligence. But nobody was held accountable for such, and the reports are there. So, 2011, we're experiencing all these things. It's members from crime intelligence that takes the money out of crime intelligence to use them to take control of the executive authority. The minister never asked for the wall. The members from crime intelligence took the money secret fund account to make that wall so they can get control of the minister. So tomorrow they can then loot that money on their own. Then the minister can't say anything. It's the same thing bringing us here today. Minister of Police, Minister Sezomkhulu, was made to sign a letter by the raw people within the organization. They might have done something to him. He signs a letter, he committed himself, and today is in trouble because of that. He did not sign that letter, he would not have been here. So some of the executive officials or authorities that are arriving in the South African Police Service, they had no bad intentions. But the raw within catches them. They take control of them and they do as they please after that. So as one of the things that I will recommend, Honorable Chair, defense intelligence, state security does not account to the open committees in Parliament. Perhaps we might want to start looking as Parliament on crime intelligence. They've got two accounts of budget that's allocated to them, open budget and the COVID budget. Every time when you come to Parliament, there's always this confusion as to what you say on this, what you don't say on that. Because there are questions that are coming from Parliament that talks about COVID issues that should be discussed in another protocol committee, but they are expected to be discussed in this open committee. You can forgive some of the parliamentarian members, they don't know that. They're going to know about a house that was built or bought. They throw questions and they want you to explain that. They don't know that belongs in another committee. Although you have members of the portfolio committee of police who deliberately, knowing, having taken an oath, that they will never divulge the secrets of the state in public. Members that are part of the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence who are supposed to keep the secrets there. And if they ask questions, they must ask in that line. They don't ask questions. I mean, if I digress a bit, Commissioner, honorable members, the member of Parliament that I referred to before went out in the public and said, no, when I asked these questions, there was no Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. And the member asked me to apologize in the national TV. I told everyone else that told me about that I will apologize to the honorable member. I'm apologizing that the honorable member had forgotten the oath that she took. I forgot, I apologize for it. That she took an oath, that oath has got an expiry date according to her. That this one is valid only for the period when the Joint Standing Committee exists. When a Joint Standing Committee doesn't exist, that oath that she took, it expires. The honorable member that forget that she took an oath before South Africans in Parliament not to divulge the secret of government. And she forgot about the oath. I apologize for that she forgot that oath. And she asked the questions in February and the likes. I must also apologize that the honorable member forgot that in April, May this year, she took an oath as a member of the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. But she still comes to the Portfolio Committee of Police and asks questions about the secret fund account. 3 questions. Then the police had to respond to her and say, sorry ma'am, this does not belong here. The chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Police knows that because I did share with him. This I shared because she denied the initial statement, and I wanted to prove that it didn't only end there. I only made reference to some few things, not all. So there are many examples, Honorable Chair and members, that one can put, but amongst these recommendations that I put in here, one of them that maybe I didn't write is really to interrogate whether is it necessary for crime intelligence to account in an open committee? Perhaps that's where the problem comes from. Because state security don't hear much about this. Not to say things are hunky-dory that side. Defense intelligence don't hear anything about this. But crime intelligence always in the middle. Why? It's because you have a portfolio committee of police that holds them accountable. So perhaps the budget must just be moved covertly, all of it, so that it goes to one committee, joint standing committee, being handled there. Whether good or bad, but it's regarded as a covert fund completely. So that is one of the addition if we were to include Honorable Chair and honorable members on this recommendation.
If the other one we thought it was a big explosion, this one is another one about Fadiel Adams and Barnard for exposing classified documents when it's not necessary. You know, when you listen to General MKHWANAZI, you start to realize this man has been stammering a lot of things that he didn't want to reveal. But the way people are pushing him, I think the country is in danger, because people talking about South Africans, if what he is saying can be put in the open, I don't think South African will digest it. They will go all out, and I don't think it will be easy. I think we are staying in a time bomb, like what is happening in our country, the way the country is being run. It seems like there's a lot of cartels running the country from behind. The people we have elected and we think they are doing the job, most of them are not doing the job. They are compromised. Touching on journalists, he really hammered, General hammered a lot on journalists, because he didn't talk about the media outlets, but he's talking about the journalists, the people working for that whatever newspaper or media. Because he had to differentiate that there are people who are in certain payroll just to destroy other people. This is what he was trying to imply to our minds, to understand how the media works. So the warning was about, if they continue to do what they're doing to these policemen who are protecting us and the country, and keep on belittled, dropping stories that does not make sense, because somebody has pushed a certain journalist to do that. That is the biggest danger. Coming to Fadiel, I think he is in a big problem. He has to come out and say how he got that classified document. Because when MKHWANAZI is giving evidence, he gives some kind of examples as to, like, where Fadiel went with this document. Normally, before you go into that intelligence office, you need to sign in. So if they go there in that OB, his name will be found as to how he got in there, and then the investigation. Because he is talking about things that he knows. I think they have gone through that. They have investigated, and I don't know what should we expect in our country, because it's kind of like there's something that is brewing, but it's brewing slowly. We don't know when it's going to explode, because people are running our government. They are making a lot of mistakes. Instead of doing the right thing, they decide to be in pockets of certain cartels. When he gave the example of Nkandla and the example of the wall of Natim Teto, who has just killed himself in France, he committed suicide. As far as we have heard on newspapers, there's a lot. We need to be patient. We don't know what is coming now in the morning, because it looks like he is not finished. Because if the line of questions that he has to answer questions from the parliamentarians, if they come hard on him, he has to name names. And when he name names, are we still going to see a lot of suicide going on in the country? Because people now, they are sitting on TVs, on radios, on their cell phone, just to see if their name comes up because they know about the corruption that they have been doing. I think, in my own opinion, we are still going to see a lot of suicides that will be committed by the people that do not want to be thrown with an egg in their face, because it means what they think they've worked for when they were stealing, it will disappear. If the push or the parliamentarians in the ad hoc committee push Mkhwanazi to a certain corner, I think the names, it's not like the Madlanga Commission. I think we'll see the naming of names, and that will shake the pillars of the country. Family, let's keep our prayer and just hope that the situation is taken care of properly. What do you think, family? Please drop your comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But Mkhwanazi has helped us to understand. No matter we had some suspicions that a lot of things were happening in the country, but for this one, he has helped us to understand, because he was pushed to a certain corner whereby he had to call that press conference, whereby he revealed a lot of things. And what I like about everything, he said I had to go to the press conference and make it to tell the South Africans, that's why today I'm here in Parliament as Mkhwanazi, because of what I did. And now the people that I told have forced this to happen. What's your take? Drop your comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bravo.